Hello, everyone. Welcome to another episode of Am I the Asshole, where we dive into real life dilemmas and decide who's in the wrong. Yeah, we leave the verdict up to you. Today, we'll explore three compelling real life stories. The first is about friendship, appearances, and unexpected drama. The second revolves around family, health, and the difficult decisions we sometimes face as partners. Finally, the third story delves into a dinner party gone awry, a friend's sharp remarks, and a walk home that led to a major rift. Let's get started. The first story is one of friendship, appearances, and unintended drama. I will start by reading the full post directly from the source so you can understand the situation in the author's own words. Here's the story. I've 29 months been with my girlfriend, 28 years old, for the past 8 months, and it has been amazing. I've met her friends, and I really like them all, and she's met my friends, and they all got along great. We are all hanging out together for the first time this weekend. The issue is that my girlfriend has told one of her friends, let's call her Sue, that she thinks she would be perfect for one of my friends, let's call him Mike. She has told her this multiple times, shown her pictures of him, and gotten her all excited. My problem with this is that I don't think they are a good match at all. Mike is a very good-looking guy in great shape, is 6 feet 2 inches, and is a lawyer. He has always dated very conventionally attractive women. Sue is great, and I really like her, but she's just not very conventionally attractive. She is overweight and just doesn't put much effort into her appearance in general. My girlfriend has mentioned this potential match to me a few times, and I've always just kind of brushed it off with a "we'll see," or "you never know," hoping it would just fizzle out. But after we made plans to all hang out, and after I found out she has been telling Sue about it, I felt like I had to say something to her. I didn't want Sue to get her feelings hurt, and I didn't want to put Mike in an awkward situation. I told my girlfriend I think she should not try to set them up together, and to just leave it alone. And if something happens between them, great, but not to push it. When she asked why, I said I just don't think they are a comparable match looks-wise, and that I think Sue would get her feelings hurt. I said I don't think they're a great match personality-wise either, since he is super active and she is much more of a homebody. This caused a big fight, our first real fight, where she accused me of thinking my friends were better than her friends, asking who else I thought was ugly, and etc. I was genuinely just trying to avoid an awkward situation, but I might have made it worse. Should I just have kept my mouth shut and let it happen? Alright, let's break this down. Here's what happened. We have a guy who's in a happy relationship but finds himself in hot water with his girlfriend. She wanted to play matchmaker, pairing her friend Sue with his friend Mike. Sounds harmless, right? Well, not quite. Mike, according to the author, is tall, fit, and a successful lawyer who's used to dating women who are conventionally attractive. On the other hand, Sue is described as overweight and less focused on appearances. This led our storyteller to worry about the potential mismatch. He tried to brush off his girlfriend's matchmaking attempts, but when the plan kept moving forward, he decided to speak up. His concern? That Sue might get hurt if things didn't work out, and that Mike might feel awkward in the situation. This is where things went south. After explaining his concerns, he mentioned that the two might not be a good match looks-wise or personality-wise. His girlfriend didn't take that well. Accusations flew, claims that he thought her friends weren't good enough for his friends. Ouch. Now let's ask ourselves, was the storyteller right to step in? Or should he have let things unfold naturally? Was it about protecting Sue? Or did his comments about looks cross a line? And that brings us to the big question. Who's the asshole here? Is it the boyfriend for stepping in and making a judgment about appearances? The girlfriend for pushing the match? Or is it just an unfortunate misunderstanding? Let me know what you think in the comments below, and let us move on to second story. The second story. Am I the asshole for not staying with my wife after her C-section? Here's the full post straight from the source. Let's see what went down. wife was admitted to hospital for an induction of our second child. She had a rough time during her first pregnancy, as it was during lockdown, UK. I was not allowed to stay during this time, so she asked that I stay each night with her during this pregnancy. She gets quite anxious and wanted me there for support during the night, as she didn't feel comfortable asking the night staff. We came to the hospital 2 a.m. on Sunday morning, where she was put on a ward and started on hormones. The labor wasn't progressing very quickly, so she told me to go home around 9 a.m. as she'd need me when the baby came. I came back in the evening and she told me to go home and rest around midnight. I came up early Monday morning and spent the day with her and went home around 5 to spend time with our daughter, staying with my parents. I got a call at 1 a.m. Tuesday from her. She thought she was in labor but didn't think the staff were taking her seriously. I rushed up to the ward. Baby was born 3 hours later via an emergency C-section. We were moved around a fair bit until we were settled in a ward around 4 p.m. on Tuesday. Both extremely tired, her obviously much more, but we managed a few hours as they had a little sofa I could lay down on. I got up throughout the night to help with baby so she could rest. Wednesday we had a nap during the day, but I stayed all day. This is where the question arose. The baby was noted to have a health problem and so has been taken for further tests. I took the baby as my wife had trouble walking during the pregnancy due to pelvic pain. This has continued, and so she is in a lot of pain quite often, combined with the surgery. They needed to move us to another ward to observe the baby, but this ward does not have a pull-out bed for partners. I have lower back pain, so I've carried a cushion around to alleviate it while she's been in hospital. It doesn't do much, but it means I can sit in the chairs for a bit rather than needing to lie down. I've told my wife that I couldn't stay, as I wouldn't be able to sit in the chair all night with no sleep. She expected me to stay the night and continue to help her out during the day. I feel really bad about it, but I wouldn't be able to sleep at all. And sitting in the chair would just further screw up my back. Then I'd be of no use the next day, without sleep and with back pain. I set everything up for my wife to make it easier for her during the night. I spoke to the staff and told them how anxious she is and that she'd need extra help, and told my wife to ask for help when she needed it. I left at 12 a.m. and came back when the doors opened next morning. I've been taking over during the day and letting her rest when she wants to. My argument is that I can't physically stay awake all night and all day. Although I'd agreed to stay all night with her before admission, I thought at least I'd be able to lie down. Am I the asshole? Alright, now that you've heard the story, let's break this down. This dad found himself in a tough spot after his wife underwent an emergency C-section. While he tried to support her as much as he could during the day, his decision to leave at night sparked a conflict. Let's recap the key points. The wife wanted him to stay overnight for emotional and physical support after her surgery. Understandably, she was in pain, anxious, and dealing with the aftermath of childbirth. But the husband, already struggling with back pain and fatigue, felt he couldn't endure another sleepless night sitting in a hospital chair. From the wife's perspective, it's clear she was looking for reassurance and hands-on help during a vulnerable time. On the other hand, the husband was trying to balance his physical limitations with his responsibilities, opting to leave so he could be more useful the next day. This leads to the big question. Was he wrong for leaving her overnight, despite setting up support systems and returning early the next morning? Or is this a case where both sides had valid concerns but clashed in the moment? And now, it's time for you to weigh in. What would you have done in this situation? Is he the asshole for prioritizing his own health? Or is the wife justified in feeling let down during such a critical time? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Now, here's the final story. Am I the asshole for making my friend walk home after he insulted my cooking? I will start by reading the full post directly from the source so you can understand the situation in the author's own words. Let's see what went down. I, 27 million, hosted a small dinner at my place for a few friends last weekend. I'm no professional chef, but I enjoy cooking and I spent hours prepping a nice meal. Everyone seemed to like it, except for my friend Mark, 28M. From the moment he sat down, Mark kept making little comments like, "Did you forget to season this?" Or, "This is why I stick to takeout." At first, I laughed it off, but he wouldn't stop. Eventually, he said something like, "Man, even a frozen pizza would have been better than this." That was the last straw for me. I told him, "If you hate it so much, maybe you should just leave." He laughed, thinking I was joking, but I wasn't. I made it clear he wasn't welcome to stay if he was going to keep insulting me. He ended up leaving, but since he didn't drive, he had to walk home. About 20 minutes. Now, a few friends are saying I overreacted and that kicking him out was too harsh, while others think he deserved it. Mark texted me later calling me petty and saying I made him feel humiliated. Am I the asshole? Alright, here's what happened. Our storyteller, a home cook who clearly put in a lot of effort, invited friends over for a meal. Most people enjoyed it, except for one friend, Mark. From the start, Mark seemed determined to ruin the vibe with constant jabs about the food. Mark's comments started off mildly annoying but escalated quickly. By the time he compared the meal to frozen pizza, the host had enough and asked him to leave. Since Mark didn't drive, he had to walk home, a detail that added fuel to the fire. Later, he accused the host of being petty and claimed he felt humiliated by being kicked out. And this brings us to the big question. Was the host justified in asking Mark to leave, or was it an overreaction? Let's weigh the arguments. On one side, the host spent hours preparing a meal and wanted everyone to enjoy it. Mark's relentless insults crossed the line, turning what should have been a fun evening into an awkward one. On the other hand, some might argue that kicking Mark out and making him walk home was harsh and could have been handled more diplomatically. So, what do you think? Did the host do the right thing by standing up for himself, or should he have let Mark's comments slide to keep the peace? Was kicking him out fair, or just plain petty? Let me know in the comments below, and don't forget to share your verdicts on all the stories we've discussed. Thank you for watching. And if you love exploring stories like these, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the bell for more Am I the Asshole? Stories. See you next time.